A fundamental principle in leadership is to do the things that only you can do, especially as your scope of responsibility increases and you find that the number of things that you're managing and the number of people that you're responsible for continues to grow. If you aren't selective with focusing on those most important things that only you can do, then you'll find yourself overworked, untrusting of those who work with you or for you, overstressed, and burnout. So, this is an important tenet of leadership and management for organizational growth and progress. But on a personal level, when it comes to growth and improvement, we tend to outsource much of what we should be doing ourselves. So today, I want to dig into that. I think back a few years ago as a health coach, and just to bring you up to speed, I moved from personal training to health coaching because I found that through training, I wasn't able to provide everything that I wanted to be able to provide to help individuals reach their goals and, frankly, change their lives. Fitness is a small part of personal growth and improvement and change. But as a health coach, I'm able to focus more on, or just as much on, the physical, psychological, and the mental aspects of training and personal growth. So a few years ago, I was working with an individual, and from week to week, the question was, okay, what do you want me to do this week? And keep in mind, now this is health coaching. So my job, my role is to help individuals realize the full potential of themselves and to help them solve some of their own problems so that when we stop working together, they're set up for success. But every week it was kind of a back and forth, like, what do you want me to do? And my response would be, well, what do you think you can do this week? And it's interesting, I think each of us were kind of learning, and, as I was getting more familiar with the coaching role, and this individual was starting to learn more and more about what it took to improve within themselves, not just relying on someone else to provide them with the answer. And so I always think back to that story because it was a good time period for me to gain a better understanding for what coaching truly is. So let's bring it back to you. And if you will, let's rewind back to the beginning of the year. Did you have goals for better nutrition? What diet plan did you seek out if that was your goal? Did you have goals for weight loss? If so, what exercise or workout plan or personal trainer did you look for? Were you looking to be a better parent or better spouse? Was that one of your resolutions? Right? Over to the self-help section in the bookstore or on Amazon, right? I mean, why do we often envision our goal and then automatically look for someone else's solution to our situation? I think there's a disconnect there. And the disconnect is that we don't start with ourselves. We may start with our goals, but we need to consider our own starting point as well, because that will determine your path and your approach. And that path or approach is usually not the same as someone else's. You see, as you think about going beyond simply living a balanced life to one in which you're thriving in every area of your life, it's important to approach growth by focusing on the starting point of where you are, not just focusing on your desire for where you want to be. It's easy to get caught up in thinking that we need to make sweeping changes. I'll tell you that a better approach is to start where you are, start with who you are, and make incremental changes that fit you. You can change habits. You can make new habits. Changing who you are, though, is entirely more difficult, arguably impossible. You see, your goals represent who you want to be, but the best way to get there is by improving, not changing who you are. Personalize your habits to fit you. What do you do well already? What do you struggle with? Recognize those things and simply look to improve. Asking, how can I grow in this area, is better than the what should I start or quit approach. This causes you to start from where you are versus trying to be someone you're not. So choose one or two things that you feel get you closer to being the person that you ultimately want to be. You know, there's a quote from the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of the holy scriptures in Hinduism. And one passage from this scripture states, "It's far better to live your own path imperfectly than to live another perfectly." I love this. It's a reference to this common disconnect that I mentioned, the difference and the tension between who we are and who we want to be, between what is and what we wish will be. And this passage that reminds us to live our own path, to follow our own destiny, is a reminder that we're all different and that we can't be someone else. And when we try to be someone else, we're not playing to our strengths. Oscar Wilde is quoted as saying, "Be yourself, because everyone else is already taken." When you strive to improve in areas of your life, you'll find that it's easier when you start with who you are and where you are in life. What do you do well? Build on that. What are you not so good at? Understand that, and maybe avoid approaches that involve those things or those traits that aren't natural to you. But ask, what habits can I change or improve or cut back on? Not just what I can start or quit. See, this causes you to start from where you are versus trying to be someone you're not. And in order to actually do this, though, you have to own it and you have to embrace it. It's not enough for you to expect that someone else will give you the answer. We must create our own path by choosing our focus areas and deciding our own next steps. You're the most important person, the one with the biggest impact on your growth journey. Let me say that again. You are the most important person and the one with the biggest impact on your growth journey. It's not your doctor. It's not your spouse. It's not your trainer. It's not your coach. It's you. So why do we sometimes allow ourselves to fall into this mindset of just going along for the ride? Well, maybe it's because we don't want to feel responsible in the event that we're unsuccessful. And that is certainly something that I think a lot of us struggle with. But this is your journey. It's no one else's. So you have to take ownership of it. Another reason, though, could be that perhaps at times we feel like others are more qualified and that they may be professionals or they're better trained in techniques and procedures and the psychology of change and growth. And that, to an extent, that is true. We all need good advice. I mean, I know that as a personal trainer and a health coach, but here's the deal. Nobody knows you better than you know yourself. You are perfectly attuned to your struggles, more so than anyone else. You know your why, that internal driver for change. Professionals may help you to uncover some of that, but it's all already inside of you. So you have to be an active participant in reaching your goals for self-improvement. How do we do that? Well, by setting short and long-term goals, by identifying your obstacles, and by taking an active role. And when you do this, your planned habits will be more realistic. They'll be more appealing. They'll be more fun to you. And all of these things are necessary characteristics for consistency. And consistency, as you know, is key. We talked about that in the last episode. In practice, though, this looks like you choosing your focus area and not waiting for someone else to tell you where to put your time and your effort. You know what fits you, what fits within your life, and what can you do right now. Get specific. Because the other thing is that when you're involved, you're bought in. When you play an active role in planning your growth, acting on your plan and seeing results, your confidence grows. And you start to recognize all that you are truly capable of. And that can expand not just from one area that you're trying to improve in, that will expand to other areas as well. So think about what fits within your life and what you can do right now. Please don't fall into this trap of believing that you're helpless, that you're irrelevant on your path to personal growth. You're not just a person who hopes to realize change. You are more than a product. Things don't just happen to you. You're a catalyst. You're a promoter. You're an integrator in your change journey. God has given us strengths and characteristics that make us much more capable than we think we are. I think back to 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. It says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but one of power, one of love, and of self-discipline. So as you seek growth in different areas of your life, beyond just making it from day to day, to actually thriving in all aspects of living, again, consider where you're starting your journey, not just where you expect to end up. And as you do that, recognize that you have strengths that are unique to you, to only you, and you can build upon those strengths. Make better habits fit your life by leveraging those strengths. That's all for now. Have a blessed one. Coach T, out.